I'm Tessa Douglas, Director of Community Relations for Southwest Tech, and I'm really excited for our Innovation Talk speaker tonight, Michelle. Michelle is the owner of All the Shell Catering. She started from scratch and has been steadily growing her business over the last few years until, this December, you were insanely busy for almost the entire month. So we would just love for you to tell us about you, about your business. How did you start and how did you get to where you're at today?
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. This is very exciting, knowing that this is where I kind of started, right across the hall there with the Women in Business Center, helping me to realize what I wanted to do. I had an idea and they said, okay, well, here you go. This is where you got to start. So I've been in business since 2018 is when I very first started. And I started by, this is going to be really funny, a friend of mine asked me to cater his deer camp. So I was a deer camp chef, and it turned into doing open houses for realtors and just nurturing my love for food. And you know, they say if you have a love language, mine is food. It is food. I love to see the look on people's faces when they eat my food and talk about it and everything. So yeah, absolutely.
So your catering business, it was kind of a hobby at first,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And during the dinner before this with our accelerated launch cohort, you were telling us about what you were doing at the time professionally. So maybe talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a really interesting story and it's a really inspiring story.
Of course. So before I started All the Shell Catering, I worked for the state of Utah for the Juvenile Justice Services, which was a passion. And I worked really, really hard late in life to achieve a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, because that was my passion. And I say was, but I don't mean was. Like, it's still part of my heart. I wanted to work with troubled youth and kind of guide and help and show a little discipline, actually, sometimes, the good kind. And so I worked for them for about 7 years. And after one of my coworkers asked me to do his deer camp, I just decided, let's do more. Cook more. And everybody started asking me to cook more. And so I said, okay. It come to a point though where I didn't know what I was doing. I had more work than I knew what to do with. It was just me cooking in my kitchen and then finding out, different laws that you have to follow and health department codes and all of the things. And it was really, really, really overwhelming. And I just jumped in. And that's when Miss Debbie Drake came to my rescue. And I remember sitting at a coffee shop with her. And she was to sit down and just tell me about your business. And so I just rambled on. I want to do this. I want to cater. I want to cook. I want to decorate. I want to this. And my end dream is to have a place for people to go and do date night cooking.
Oh,
right.
Fun.
So yeah, that is, and I can get to that in a minute, but that is end goal in the back of the steakhouse maybe. But date night cooking is my end goal. Anyhow, so I'm telling Debbie Drake this, and she's just spinning, and she's just looking at me, and she says, oh my gosh, she says, and I says, I just don't know what to do next. I don't know where to go next. And she says, well, the reason you don't know is because you're so busy working in your business that you haven't started working on your business. And I just looked at her and I just didn't really understand what she was talking about. I really had no idea. And so I mulled that over for the next week before our next meeting. And she, started off from there and says, here, you need this plan. and she taught me how to do that. And that's what I've been working on for the last 4 years I'm trying to work more on my business, and which I think I've come a long way. I've come a long way. But there's still so much more to do, so much. But now that I'm noticing that, because I've found a way to delegate responsibilities and trust and give away a little bit of control, I'm able to step back and work on the business, still work in the business, but I'm able to juggle it a little bit more now. So, absolutely.
So there's a lot of barriers to starting a business from scratch, right? A lot of barriers. And one of the big barriers for a lot of people is taking that leap of faith, right? Like if you're in steady employ, especially, that leap of faith it's risky, right?
Absolutely, it's terrifying.
So how did you know when you were ready to take that leap? And I know it was hard. There were a lot of naysayers. So maybe talk about how you overcame all of that doubt that you were being fed by others and decided, okay, I'm going to break through and I'm just going to make a go of it.
There were a lot of naysayers. And I don't want to say that they were completely against me and were just like, oh, you're dumb for doing this. But they were just more of are you sure you want to do this? That's a big step. Are you going to be able to pay your mortgage? You worked so hard, you spent so much money on your education to fulfill this dream, and now you're jumping ship to fill this dream. And so it was hard. It was really, really hard to find that balance between my passions. And what brought me to the point of jump or don't was I was home and I was crying to my husband that I was tired, and I kept getting more people calling me. And it was the most wonderful thing because I don't advertise. The advertising that I do is word of mouth. And to me, that is the best compliment that you can get. And at that time, people were just calling and calling, and I couldn't do it. I had to do my 40 hours a week for, the state, but I've got people and I had to say no. And to this day, I hate saying no, and I will do everything I can before I say no. And I told him, I says, I think it's time. We have to jump. It's either go all in and put it out there, or just continue to be like, okay. And one of the other things that I keep in the back of my brain, the one thing that Debbie Drake had said to me, you have to work on your business, not just in it. One of the other, I was doing a retreat for Modere with Amy Gleave. She is a speaker, and she was talking to me about my business and networking, and she asked me, how are you doing? And I says, I'm doing really good. I'm doing good. And she says, did you know that good is the enemy of great? And it took me a minute. I was like, what? But after you think about it, are you going to settle for good? And at that time, I was settling for good. Like, I'm doing good. I was doing good. But the potential to do great and amazing and just superior is still out there. And so I kept that, and I still keep that in the back of my mind. The good is the enemy of great. If you're good, push for great. So that's when I jumped, and I'm so glad I did. It is terrifying, I will tell you that. Even to this day, when we have slow months, I'm not getting, everybody's recovering from the holidays, and a lot of events are coming, people aren't getting married, and so on. I tend to freak out a little bit, but I know, I believe in Alashell, and I believe in our product, and we will succeed, and we will catch up next month. you know, so.
And you are succeeding. I mean,
Absolutely.
from where you started, where it was just you cooking out of your kitchen, how many employees do you have now?
10.
10. Awesome.
10 employees. And that is probably one of the biggest, one of the biggest hurdles to jump over, in my opinion, is employees. Finding good ones, keeping good ones, making them happy so that they will stay. And that is one of my biggest must-haves. Like, I am going to treat my employees well because they're important to me. I can't do my job and I can't be successful without those behind me pushing me. You know, my family, my husband, my daughter, all of them. I know they're there for me to cry to, for me to say, I can't do it anymore, you know, and to build up from having 2 people in my kitchen to having 10. I can run 3 different crews at one time right now.
Wow.
I could never dream of that. And it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better.
Well, how many events did you do last month?
About 16 in December, 16. Yeah, about that. And all of them were pretty significant events. You know, they weren't just, 50 people, one of which was 650 people, one of which was 300, one of which was 150. And now, I'll talk to my husband and he'll ask, what do we have going on? And I'll say, oh, it's only 120. It's just 120. It's no big deal. Da, da, da. And he's just like, 120. Okay. All right. I'm like, well, hey, it's not 650.
Yeah.
So, and that thus far, that is my biggest event and successful. So for sure.
That's awesome. A big change. And it's amazing that you've been able to grow your capacity so much so quickly, because just a few years is pretty quick in the business world,
Yeah, and they tell you, they say, and I do a lot of research and I try to follow the rules. I'm a by the book type of person, and they say don't grow your business too fast, because if you grow it too fast, then you're gonna burn out before you even, and so that's always in the back of my mind. So my husband, we just recently bought a food truck.
Awesome.
And he is more of the, we got to go more, we got to get more, we're going to do more. And I'm the type of person who's like, slow down. The book says we should slow down, and we should, you know what I mean? He's just, it's good to have that. It really is. Always pushing, because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So obviously you've got a lot of drive. Your husband has a lot of drive too.
Yes.
But I know you've also found ways to be innovative and to collaborate. You're collaborating with other business owners in the community to help expand and build. So maybe tell us about what innovations you've come up with, and when and why you decided to work with other businesses, and maybe how you found them too. How did that all come about?
So there's a couple different small businesses in town right now that I don't want to say I want to take them under my wing, because that sounds a little weird, but essentially I want to take them under my wing. You know what I mean? They've come to me and I want to mentor them the way that I've been mentored. I see something in them that they are going to be successful. For instance, can I mention their name? Like Yummy Tummy Sweets. Yummy Tummy Sweets is in my shop. So maybe I should back up and say, I own not only A La Shell Catering, but I also own Wedding Decor and More.
Okay.
So I have an actual store in town away from my kitchen, so it's kind of the other end of things. So in that shop, we talk about being the one-stop shop. As we were talking about here, this innovation center is the one-stop shop, right? This is where you can get it all done, and you can find your dream and you can make it happen here, right?
That's the goal.
That is the goal. In my shop, it's the one-stop shop for any type of event, right? So you have catering, you have cake, you have because I am not a baker. I will put that out there. I'm not a baker. Rentals, florals. We have a photographer and just recently an event coordinator in staff, so that all you have to do is come in here and we will have you lined out. Well, of those people that are in my shop, Yummy Tummy Sweets is one. And she come to me and she was just starting out. She's been in my shop for about a year now. And she just has all of these products and she's asking me, how did I do this? And it was really cool to have somebody come to me and ask me these questions that I go to, people that I look up to and ask questions. And so teaming together with them to help them make their business successful, in turn it does help me and my business, but to see somebody else grow the way that I have is just rewarding. It is so rewarding, so from things like that to partnering with somebody to do a wedding, a different business to do a wedding, coming together. It's about partnerships. I never, ever, ever want to be in so much competition with another person or another business that we can't come together and make something beautiful. We can't make an event. We can't make a client so happy between the two of our talents, to do that. That's important to me. It's really important to me to find out somebody's starting a taco business, right? Do I serve tacos? Yes, I serve tacos. You know what I mean? But he wants to serve tacos too. There's nothing wrong with that. Good, healthy competition is the best kind of competition. You know what I mean? And so if I can help them grow their business, oh my gosh, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. Because when I first started, I had help, and then I did have some people not help. And I know what that feels like. Yeah. And I never, ever want to make anybody feel like their idea and they can't do something that they want to do.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things, hurdles and things in my way that I've had to overcome. Freezer's going out now, where I'm going to get money to get a new freezer. Refrigerator's going out. On the weekend of 4 weddings, my refrigerator went out. Lord help me. So, little things like that. Things about, oh, Michelle, you have to have a commercial kitchen. You have to have a commercial kitchen. Where am I going to get a commercial kitchen? Who's going to help me so that I can be successful? Iron Springs. Iron Springs is my commercial kitchen. Oh. So I work out of there. I am working on building one at my home, but until that is legal and health department regulated, we cook out of Iron Springs kitchen. And they have been so kind to me. And therefore, I will be their first person. You know what? You need a caterer. You put me there. I will help you. I will do what I can to help you because you've helped me. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that spirit of healthy competition, but also community and collaboration. Absolutely. And I think that's probably part of the big reasons that you are being so successful right now. This popped into my mind as you were talking. It's not a question that I sent you before, but as far as financing, you talked about where am I going to find the funds to build a kitchen or to get a new freezer, a fridge, or whatever. How have you built the capital for your business? Have you taken out loans or grants, or is it all from the floor up?
It's all from the floor up, and I'm embarrassed to say that is where we were talking about earlier. I know where my faults are, or where my not my faults, my
weaknesses, maybe?
Weaknesses, yes.
Opportunities for improvement.
Yes, opportunities for improvement are things that I'm working on, things that I need to work on is I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to go about getting either an investor or to get a loan to build what I want, to get more whatever. Thus far, everything that I have in my kitchen, all the equipment and everything has been a complete turnaround. I make the money, I spend the money. I make the money, I spend the money. I put everything in my company, I put in there, and my husband has put in there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been hard work. It has been hard work, but it is worth it.
But it's all yours,
It
too.
is mine.
Yeah,
It is mine.
It is all yours.
You know, and that makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I do know that the day is going to come that I am going to need help. You know, I'm going to need help in getting grants and getting loans and finding those people that are going to help me on the financial end of my business. And this is where I will come to do that. You know, I'm just now getting there. At least in my mind, I can see that I'm here now. Before I couldn't see it because I was buried. And so thanks to, you know, my new staff and being able to delegate that stuff, I'm able to focus on more things like that. So,
More of the management side instead of the worker bee side.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
which is
absolutely.
important.
It is. It's very important. And it's taken me a long time to realize how important that is. It's just as important as peeling, you know, 85 pounds of potatoes. You know,
Yeah.
it's just as important as cleaning the grills and cleaning the kitchen. Those things are, you know, I have to do those things too. So,
Maybe this might be a good time. Does anybody in the audience have any questions? I can keep going too, but okay, we've got a couple. Lee.
So if I needed a catering company and I didn't know about you, where would I find you in a sense? Do you have a...
we do have a Google listing. You can pull us up on Google. We
I
have...
can Google it from Cedar City and you would show up.
Yes, yes. That is something that I just figured out. So what I have to figure out now is, I will say, when you do Google catering in Cedar City, it's down there a ways.
Right.
I don't know how to get it from here to
The
here.
algorithm, you gotta have somebody help you on that. They
Yeah.
actually know where to put the right words to get you to the top. of it.
Right.
I'm learning that right now too. and that's-
Yeah. So there's that. I have Facebook pages, Instagrams. I put my cards probably in every business in this
So there's
town.
really no storefront or anybody sees you, think, what is that? in the store
Yes,
there?
there is a storefront. I do have All Shells Catering and Wedding Decor and More, and we are at 491 South Main Street, Suite 106.
Okay.
Yeah, behind the Cedar Point shopping area, behind All American Diner.
Oh,
I have a showroom there that people can come in and we can discuss all things event.
Okay.
All things event.
perfect, that answers.
Okay, and Brian, did you have a question too?
I don't know if he wants to get on the mic.
There you go. So I was interested what you said earlier about transitioning from being you to hiring employees.
Yes.
And I know that's a big hurdle for a lot of small businesses when they have to let go of that. Did you hire a key employee
Yes.
and then train them and then have them train? I mean, how did that process go?
Yes, I hired two, actually. I hired one is a kitchen manager, Jasmine, who just, I got her from Southwest Tech culinary department there. She graduated, and she is my kitchen manager, and she handles everything outside in the kitchen area, food, kitchen cleaning, all of that. And then I realized that I felt so selfish. I felt so selfish in needing someone else. I felt like I needed it, but I didn't need it. So it took me about 2 more months to realize that I needed an assistant. So I hired an assistant to help me with more of the day-to-days, the invoicing, taxes, and you know, all of those administrative type things. I didn't even really know what I needed an assistant for. I knew I needed one though. So she's been working with me and they have been helping me, and it's made things more clear for me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like it was easy though,
It was
emotionally.
not. It was not. Giving up control is a problem of mine. Is definitely a problem of mine. But for the greater good, and if I want things done And if I want to succeed, I need to be able to trust. I asked these people to work for me for a reason. I know that they have skills that attracted me to them, and I see potential in both of them. And so it made it a lot easier.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned before that you were kind of a like by the rules kind of person, by the book. I definitely relate to that myself, but I was curious whether you found in entrepreneurship and business, if that's something that you found has aided you and growing your business, or if that's something that has made it more difficult in some ways.
I'm going to say a little bit of both, because it has given me a guideline, something to go by, where I've built All Shell Catering from the start, where I just didn't even know what I was doing, and to do some research, and it has given me some guidelines, so hard and fast rules, if you will. And then being able to make those rules and make, those, now I call them suggestions, fit my business and my needs, is where I think it's really starting to make a turn right now, where I'm at right now. For sure.
So you say you have 10 employees now?
Yes.
So 11, including you?
Yes. That's, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is just happened as of December. Because I was not an employee of my business. I didn't know any better, honestly. That was one of my faults, and that's something that I learned. I need to be paying myself. And after talking to the tax man, and he looking at me going, what? So, okay. So yes, 11 with myself.
Good. So can you help us understand just how you had that growth, right? Because it's an idea, it's a passion, you turned it into a business, but how did you get to the point where you are employing 10 people plus yourself? And how do you anticipate your growth and where you want it to go? And how does the food truck tie into that? Sorry, it's a long question.
That's a good question, though. So, first part of the question, transitioning from employees, one employee to the next. Honestly, it was need. It was need. I was getting so busy. And to prepare for an event in one weekend, it takes a lot of hours, for one person, and which I was okay with. I was okay with doing that. But then when word got out that, hey, All Shell is a good person to work with, and she will help you, and she's, all of these things, people kept calling. And like I said, I don't like to say no, especially at an opportunity, number one, to help somebody. Number two, financially. I mean, when it boils down to, we all want to make money, right? And so telling a client, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you, or it ate at me. So in order to be able to work that second event in one day, I had to have more people. And so I went through express employment. And that was the only way that I knew how, because I don't have like insurances and, a way to do payroll. The other thing that Debbie Drake taught me is, if it's not my business, stay out of it. And that is not my business, right? I don't know anything about it. I don't have any business in it. Find somebody who does. So that's what I did. We just went through Express, and then we got some people that we really liked, and they stayed on, and so on and so forth. So we just kind of grew and grew as the need met, or as the need arose. We met that need. Now, like I said, last year we were able to do in one weekend 4 weddings, and let me break that down for you. We have 4 teams. We were at every event center in Cedar City in one day. And that was a major, major milestone for me. Second half of that question, what does that look like in the future? In my future, I want to be able to have I want to do at least one event every single day and 4 on the weekends. I want, 4 different teams. I want to be at every event center in this valley. I want, during the week, I want to do business meetings. I want to do corporate events. You know what I mean? On top of that, we also want to have our food truck out. So that's a whole nother team. Like, that's something that my husband and I are like, okay, he wants this food truck, and he's like, I see the need for it, because that's a trend right now in wedding world is food truck, right? But if you're gonna have a food truck, it has to work, right? So you have to have a staff just for that. And we kind of go back and forth with that. And I'm like, you can't have my girls. You got to get your own. So having enough employees to do that. So we have ads out, always hiring. The only thing is it's the drawback to that is it's weekend work, and it's hard to find people who want to work Thursday, Friday, and sometimes maybe a Sunday morning, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes a Sunday morning. But our goal is to have our food truck out everywhere twice a week, and then at different events, the car shows, the fairs, jamborees, all of those things, as well as doing other events. So I want All-A-Shell everywhere. That's what I want. That's my main goal. And in order to do that, I need people. I need people to help me, And so I think that we offer a good incentive program to help students. I advertise at the school. I advertise at SUU. And I also always tell my employees, one of the best perks about working for me is you will never go hungry. I will feed you, and I will feed your roommates. So, you know what I mean? So that's,
And it will be excellent food,
it's,
too.
and it is good. It's good, healthy food. Like I cook clean food. It's not junk food. I mean, we do some junk food stuff, but as a general rule, you know what I mean? So, did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Mine's a really simple question. What is the single greatest resource that you're lacking to expand, whether that's capital, money, and or people? I know you mentioned people.
Right now, I think it's capital. Right now it is. I need a big building. Like I said, I have big dreams. And in order to make that happen, I need a big building. So I'm renting right now. I need some space. Got to stretch out a little bit. And then my second would be employees. Right? Employees are hard though. They're hard because like I said, in my line of work, it's when the events are, that's when I need help. And I know that can't support a family. So it has to be somebody who is just needing a second, little side gig, a little extra money here and there. And then hopefully, one day when I do get my big building and I do get my date night, vision, then they can have a full-time job, and then I can help support their family. So, yeah.
Awesome. So maybe leave us with any other thoughts that you want us to know about All-A-Shell Catering or Wedding Decor and more. We really focused on the catering, but and then maybe your final words of wisdom for anybody who wants to start a business, who wants to take that leap of faith. Just any words of advice for them that you can leave with us.
Okay. Other things that I'd like you to know about All-A-Shell Catering. Goodness, I feel like I've talked a lot about All-A-Shell. Well, kind of like I tell any of my clients that come to me, is All-A-Shell Catering is a full-service catering company. Full-service catering company that we specialize in creating a special event, a special dish, a special feel for an individual, for their client. We are not cookie cutter by any means. I have a website, allashell.com. I have an Instagram at allashell, Facebook page as well. We have a storefront, 491 South Main Street, Suite 106. We take appointments. I will walk you through everything. And my job is to make your life a heck of a lot easier when it comes to planning events, because there are very few people that enjoy doing that. I mean, really, there are. And then as far as words of wisdom for anybody who's starting a business, no matter what kind of business it is, my advice from what I have learned in my experience is be passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, it's not right. Find something that makes you want to sit here and talk to you about my dreams of All Shell all night long. Find something that is going to make you happy, and of course support you. You know, don't listen to the naysayers, but listen to the naysayers so that you can say in the long run, you know, thank you for saying that, but I got this. I did this, and I will continue to do this despite what other people may think. Always remember, good is the enemy of great. And if you believe in what you are doing, other people will.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Okay, let's
Thank
thank
you so
Michelle.
much.
She did a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.